Coastal fans, thank you for watching throughout the year. It's been a fun season. It's been a really good season. So we're going to do our year-end recap and just my evaluation of the season. And this is just 100% my opinions, nothing more, nothing less, and just my takeaway. So before we begin about this season, we got to go all the way back to the end of last season and just remembering how it was where Jamie announced his departure shortly after the championship game loss in the Sun Belt Conference and went to the Birmingham Bowl, and East Carolina more than got the best of us during that process. They hired Tim Beck, okay? And Tim Beck officially did not take over until after the Birmingham Bowl. Now, yes, was he working? Absolutely. But he was not officially on payroll until the day after, the morning after, 12:01 a.m., whatever you want to call it, till after the Birmingham Bowl. His one job during that time frame was not to get new recruits and sign them magically 22 hours later. It was to save any and all recruits that were recruited by a different coach to fit a different system. That's what he walked into. He also walked into an era of transfer portal. Bye-bye. Because that's the world we live in now. And I'm of a certain generation. I do not believe in that fully. I do believe it in some, but not to the extent that it's been exposed to. And I really definitely don't believe in the opting out, like how the Orange Bowl is going to look in a couple of nights from now scenario as well. It's a mockery of college football. That's a different story for a different day. This is the world that Coach Beck walked into. Additionally, let's give praise to Chadwell. He was well liked. He was. There's some coaches, it's a good riddance when they choose to take a different job, like in college basketball world when Will Wade left VCU. That was a good riddance type of situation. Not for this. This was a wish you well, darn it, you're leaving. Don't burn any bridges, we won't burn any bridges type of scenario. So that's when he took over. And there was adjustment period. That's what he walked into. He really truly didn't have his first recruiting class until this past season, this current season, and the current signing class. So it's a year zero under recruiting, in my opinion. And I'm the only one that has that theory. I'm the only one that's going to believe in that theory. And I just stand behind heavily of that theory. When you are hired right at bold transition time frame, you are basically saving recruits. And if you can get one person of your own recruit, congratulations. But it's mostly a year zero recruiting class. Plus, you're putting together your coaching staff. Plus, you're putting together your offensive playbook, your defensive playbook, your special teams playbook, and you're trying to make it work with all these coaches that have probably never worked for you before and now all trying to get onto the same page. That was spring. Okay. That was spring. Just learn each other, much less learn who your opponents are going to be and what their format are. It's a lot different when you're in year 5 or so in a program and you can already look at your schedule. And yes, I'm sure they were highly focusing on UCLA week 1, but they're also highly focusing on themselves and trying to master the playbook and just learn the playbook. And the older I get, the more appreciation I have for the little things. And I honestly don't think the average fan truly has that appreciation if they're of a younger age. Because the more I learn about this sport, and yeah, I'm 49 years old and I'm still learning. I've been a part of college football since I was about 8 years old. Okay. So that's 41 years of being somehow involved in the sport, even if it was just sitting in front of a TV as a kid, as a fan. All right. It's hard work. And let's cut to this clip now. This was Coach Chadwell's reflection of the season.
Yeah, I don't know that I really have because everything's been so busy. But I know I'm very blessed. That I can tell you. To be able to be the head coach at Coastal Carolina, that be the opportunity to, just have interaction and impact on these young men's lives and the people, the Sam Pinkneys and Grayson McCalls and Will McDonald's and all the people that have played here, that have bled in sweat and tears for the program and to establish it what it is. It's humbling, and I'm very blessed to be able to do that. But truly sitting back and letting it all sink in, it's been hard, but that part I can tell you.
Furthermore, well, let's talk about the season now. Okay. At the end of the day, 8 wins and oh my gosh, an amazing bowl victory in Hawaii. They went coast to coast, and we already talked about all of that significance and all that kind of rarity and fine waters and stuff like that. That's special. So let's talk about how we got there. They averaged 27.7 points for. They gave up 23.8 points against. All right. They were 4th in the Sun Belt in scoring defense. They were middle of the pack in scoring offense. Impressively, though, they're currently, somebody can still, who has a game can jump them. They are 18th in the nation in takeaways. Great job, defense. They are top 25 in the nation in time possession. They're currently at 22, but it's based off of total time, so somebody could jump them as well with the few bowl games remaining. In time possession, great job, offense. And that was just their type of offensive scheme, was move the ball, line up, make the adjustments, then snap. So it was just a different style of play. All right, some of the leaders throughout the season. Rushing leader, Braden Bennett, 407 yards and 5 TDs. Passing leaders, it depends on which category you want to talk about. Jarrett Guest had enough to qualify, in my opinion. He had 61 pass attempts. I don't know if that's enough officially, but he had a 199 QBR, and he completed 72% of all of his passes. All right, as far as yardage and TDs go, Grayson McCall led the team, over 1,900 yards passing and 10 TDs. We all know who led the team and received receptions. I mean, Sam Pinkney set a not only an NCAA record this season, but he also broke a coastal record for most receptions in a season, and he got over 1,000 yards as well. So Sam Pinkney, 72, 10, 27, and 8 TDs, that is. The other one I want to highlight, he finished 3rd, was Jamison Tucker, 20 receptions, 423 yards, and 3 TDs. And he became the deep ball threat. The everybody's looking at, Jared Brown, or obviously the go-to guy, the art monk of the team, if you will, Sam Pinkney, old man Sam, and they would just lob it over deep, and Jamison was there. So I wanted to make sure I got reference to him in this video as well. Defensively, Michael Mason was just an all-around beast. 67 tackles, 7 sacks, 10.5 TFLs, that's tackle for losses, 4 quarterback hurries, a forced fumble, and 1 pass breakup. Clayton Isbell, everybody remembers him from the UCLA game with 3 interceptions. He also added 89 tackles and led the team in tackles this season. And then Keontae Lusk had 37 tackles along with his 3 interceptions, and they co-tied for the lead on that. So there's your offensive highlights and your defensive highlights. My personal MVPs of each season, of each side of the ball, for offense, I'm going to go Sam Pinkney. I think that's an obvious choice. Let's go ahead and get that one over with. 72 receptions, 1,027 yards, receiving 8 touchdowns, and one of the key scores in a lot of games. The Old Dominion game, the Hawaii Bowl, just to name 2. Okay. Defensively, I'm going to go Michael Mason. And I'm sure there's others that could argue why Clayton Isbell is deserving of the team MVP. I'm going to give it to Michael Mason. Again, just an all-around balanced performance. And on that line, he was the beast on the line, at least the number 1 beast. They had multiple beasts. Let's be clear about that as well. On special teams, I'm going to go Cade Hensley. It felt like they settled down once Cade got put into the kicking duties and was pretty automatic, both in field goals and extra points. And a lot of his kickoffs went for touchbacks as well. So there's my 3 MVPs of the season. Overall, how do I rate this season? You got to give it a solid A. Okay. A plus, no, just a solid A. It's a year one. All that stuff I talked about in the beginning, all of those are real factors. The transfer portal, not having a true your personal recruiting class, learning a whole new, everybody learning all new everything. All of that is major factors, whether you realize it or not. Not to mention your schedule, opening the season on Labor Day weekend and the Rose Bowl. How cool was that? Okay. Yes, they had some losses, but overall, Hawaii Bowl played for a chance to represent the Eastern Division in the Sun Belt Championship. Year one, it's an A. Now, what this did was take the expectations and I hate saying it, raise the expectations for what year two could look like. But that's just how sports and athletics works, plain and simple. And you're not in the business if you don't want that type of opportunities as well either. So there's that. Next season, a lot of stuff has not been set yet, but we do know this much. On August 31st, they're on the return match at Jacksonville State. Watch out for that game already. The very next weekend, they host William and Mary, and that'll be their 1AA opponent. The very next weekend as well, September 14th, they're on the road in Philadelphia. They're playing Temple. And then finally, 2 years later, after some horrible drama situations, on September 21st, Coastal Carolina hosts the Virginia Cavaliers, which would be a fun, great game to see in person as well. That is their non-conference schedule. We haven't learned their conference schedule yet. So that's where we start. It's going to be a fun run. This has been a good season, a great season. Like I said, I gave it an A. Now, what are your thoughts? Comment below to your thoughts of the season. Hit the like, hit the follow back button. We'll talk more throughout the spring as well. But this has been a recap of the 2023 season. Sean's up.